200 miles long. Not coming to Mount Etna and drop or the Kauai Island. 200 miles of lava flows. There was crazy things happening here geologically. Additionally, where we are now, 40 million years ago, was under the ocean. The coastline of Oregon, if you look at Oregon and it's a rectangle like this, so here's Portland now, here's where we are, the Coast Range is here, the Cascade Mountains are here, and this is California down here. The ocean line was like this, not way out here. And the collision of the continental and the Pacific plates over millions of years essentially scraped top of the Pacific plate, which always, an ocean plate always dives underneath the continental plate as they collide. And so those upper layers get kind of scraped off and built up. And these very old ocean sediments then build up and have built up all along this coast range. And a lot of the soil here, especially here in the south, is this very ancient marine sediment. Think 40 million years under the ocean, finally pushed up, folded into the range of mountains that became the Coast Range. Now, along with that, there were lava flows up over here coming down the gorge area, and then just kind of explosions in this area where volcanic plumes came up through the crust, through just a little crack, not really a volcano, but just an area where the crust just kind of failed, and this magma would come up and mix under the ocean with these sedimentary soils. So we have these really bizarre things, like Momtazi is one of these things where you look at a soil series and technically it's volcanic. But if you look at what's in the layers, it doesn't look like a volcanic soil profile. It looks like a sedimentary profile with some volcanic crap in it. And so it's very mixed up. But important for the vine is that, remember, the vine is a living organism that has half of its area below the soil and half of it above. The part that's below is interacting with everything that's happening in the ground. And the energy that it's deriving from the ground is depending on what's in there. It turns out that in the big scheme of things, that sedimentary soils are more depleted of resources, minerals and things like that. And they don't hold water as well. Or the volcanic soils, which is what the Dundee Hills, especially, and the upper reaches of the Willamette, is volcanic soils. Those volcanic soils have more nutrition, and they hold water longer through the summer. So that the vine has a different experience growing in these different soils, and we'll talk more about that. But essentially, these two basic kind of soils really creates then a diversity of terroir. Now, think about this. During the day, the hottest part of the valley is going to be in the middle. And as you go more towards the outside, it's going to be less and less hot. In these folded hills, you have some heat that accumulates during the day, but it never gets super hot. But there are some areas like this area here, which is huge. It's 100 square miles of flat land here. And the areas around this area, the vineyards around this area, get more heat. And the heat then creates more light, more heat. The skin, especially in red grapes, is going to make more tannin. So they're going to have a reaction to that heat. So the wines that are, especially in hot places, are going to have a different kind of skin profile, different ripening conditions. Also, the vines that are closest to this cold wind at night, where the temperatures change, the closer you get to this trumpet shape, the more quickly the vine is going to cool down. And thus it's going to have more acid, because it's going to stop eating up acid quicker in the evening. Now, literally, this space is about 20 miles. But the difference, or even from here to here, is about 17 miles. The difference between the wines that we make in the Willamette Hills and the Dundee Hills, even though you think, well, they're kind of like a lot similar distance, is dramatic because of this wind that blows right across. And the name, the Ola Hills, it's the Greek god? Is that right? Aeolus, yeah. Yeah, Aeolus is the god of the wind.
Cool.
This is a particularly windy spot, and in particular, you can see there's all these vineyards right around the middle here, where our set of hills also has a little valley in the middle, and the winds funnel over the top, and Justice is right up here in Bethel Heights.